Hello, this is UZREPORT News. I'm Barno Nazarzoda. Shortly on our topics. Tashkent International Investment Forum is to be held in March. Preparations are underway. Sodik Safoyev expressed his condolences to the people of Czech Republic as the chairman of the Senate of Czech Republic passed away. An agreement signed between Uzbek authorities and the World Bank. What is it aimed at? We'll find out more further in the program. President Shavkat Mirziyoyev on January the 27th held a meeting to discuss the organization of the Tashkent International Investment Forum. Its main goal is to attract foreign direct investments in the sectors that drive the economy, including energy, mechanical, electrical engineering, information technologies, textile, agriculture, food and construction industries.
The meeting identified specific tasks for holding this event at a high organizational level. In particular, the Minister of Investment and Foreign Trade has been instructed to prepare information on promising projects that will be offered to foreign investors together with regional leaders. Particular attention should be paid to establishing direct partnerships between local producers and foreign investors in the implementation of regional programs. The Minister of Foreign Affairs indicated the need to invite representatives of leading foreign companies, international financial organizations and the media to the forum. The issues of high-quality preparation of places where events will be held, wide promotion and coverage of the forum in the media were touched upon.
On the same day, President Shavkat Mirziyoyev held a meeting on the development of health and science. In order to prevent diseases, employees of medical centers and family clinics should make a household tour, cover the population with patronage and establish data exchange with regional hospitals. Special attention should be paid to the improving medical culture, promoting physical culture and sports. They discussed measures to organize the medical system based on advanced foreign standards and further expand public access to health services. The activities of 16 specialized medical centers were also on agenda. The head of state said that they need to prevent diseases based on the analysis of morbidity indicators, organize activities in the regions, and work closely with the primary care institutions. The importance of attracting private and foreign investments for the further development of these centers was emphasized. Mirziyoyev instructed to improve the work on the protection of motherhood and childhood, to develop a specific plan for the organization of medical examination and rehabilitation of women of fertile age. The meeting criticized the personnel policy, pointing in particular to the shortage, low qualification and potential of specialists. Currently, the health system employs 75,000 doctors. There are almost 3,000 general practitioners missing. The rate of implementation of the results of scientific research does not exceed 5%. The president noted the need for the target training of specialists based on the state order. The information of target quotas indicates the district, village and place of work. In connection with the death of chairman of the Senate of Czech Republic, Yaroslav Kabira, first deputy chairman of the Senate of Oli Majlis Sodik Safoyev visited the Czech embassy in Tashkent. He expressed condolences on behalf of the government and the people of Uzbekistan. In his address to the government and people of Czech Republic, represented by the Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Yaroslav Siro, Sodik Safoyev noted that Kabira was known in our country as a staunch supporter of a balanced, pragmatic approach to international cooperation, who did much to extend the parliamentary dialogue between the countries.
In connection with the death of the statesman of the Czech Republic, the chairperson of the parliament, Mr. Kubek, who was an active supporter of the development of our bilateral relations, I want to know that he did a lot for the development of relations between the Czech Republic and Uzbekistan. I would like to note that the relations between our countries are traditionally very advanced. The Czech Republic is a very important partner for us.
Yaroslav Kabira died at the age of 72. He served as Speaker of the Senate of Czech Republic since 2018. The statesman was widely known for his humorous statements, which made him famous not only among colleagues, but also among the general public. President Shavkat Mirziyoyev, in his recent address to the Oli Majlis, repeatedly referred to the reduction of the state involvement in the competitive private sector enterprises and the need to complete carrying out of corporate transparency in large industrial enterprises. This puts additional tasks on the State Assets Management Agency. All this was discussed during the last press tour in the Kashkadarya region.
The Kashkadarya division of the State Assets Management Agency provided a briefing and organized a press tour to production facilities in Karshi, Yakabag and Shahrisabz districts of the region. In particular, in the city of Karshi, they got acquainted with the activities of Grand Furniture Design LLC. The entrepreneur has established the production of modern doors and furniture made of MDF. Now he plans to implement new projects and create an additional 120 jobs. The loan allocated for the enterprise has allowed to reconstruct the bus station and launch the production of doors. More than 40 jobs have been created. At present, agreements have been signed with investors on 109 objects, for which commitments have been made to attract investments worth over $12 million. In 2019, 44 idle buildings were provided to entrepreneurs at an initial cost of 1 som, under condition of making investments and creating new jobs. Another example is Davr Sharab LLC, located in the Yakkabag district. The company created 130 new jobs and currently produces 1,300 decaliters of products. If the state debt at the beginning of the company's activity was more than 30%, then as a result of an increase in the share of investors, this figure decreased to 10.1%. Today, 80% of our share is available. Of these, 10% belong to the cannery and another 10% to the State Assets Management Agency. But we have a goal to buy back this 20%. To make this, we first need to expand the company. For example, we recently established a line for the production of soft drinks. Assistance was provided to the hotel Shahrisabz Yulduze. It is located in the tourist center of the region and has been operating since 2009. But for some reason, you can't find guests in here. According to the data provided, 1/3 of the available 80 seats are empty every day. Last year, the number of local tourists who made a trip to Shahrisabz amounted to 1.5 million. 204 foreign investors also visited the region last year. Due to the lack of modern facilities, the Shahrisabz Yulduze hotel is unprofitable, with a high share of the state in it. Now it is put up for auction at an initial cost of 1.3 billion, with a commitment to draw investments worth at least $500,000.
The annual tourist fair Vacancy Salon Antwerp 2020, which is the largest exhibition in the Flemish region of Belgium, was held in the exhibition center Antwerp Expo. As part of the event, the embassy, together with the travel company Silk Voyage, launched an informative exhibition about Uzbekistan, which really drew the interest of visitors.
The stand dedicated to our republic was decorated in a traditional style using the products of craftsmanship. Moreover, the opportunities of Uzbekistan in the tourism sector, existing tour routes to historical and cultural attractions of the Republic and other measures for further development of the industry, including the development of infrastructure, construction of hotels and etc. were presented. During the fair, visitors were presented with extensive information about the tourist potential of Uzbekistan. Videos were shown that tell about the rich historical, cultural and architectural heritage of the Uzbek people, unique architectural sites of the Republic and folk handicrafts. The guests were particularly interested in information about the practice of combining travel programs by Uzbek tour operators, in particular visits to historical and cultural sites and ecotourism zones. Participants got acquainted with the features of agro-tourism as well as the possibility of organizing mountain tourism and helicopter flights.
Uzbek expert group visited the United States to study law enforcement practices in the field of insolvency regulation. Representatives of the presidential administration, the Supreme Court, the Ministry of Justice and the State Assets Management Agency were among the delegation. In our next story, we'll find out what they have learned during the trip. So the route included the following points: the U.S. Bankruptcy Court for the Eastern District of New York, Fordham University, the Department of Justice, the International Finance Corporation, the Treasurer, the Department of Commerce, and the World Bank. Meeting with specialists in the Doing Business Group, as well as the roundtable with the participation of American bankruptcy lawyers in the office of White & Case were of great interest. According to the diplomatic mission of our country in Washington, the most common and unique types of bankruptcy cases of legal entities and individuals of the United States through the liquidation, reorganization, and restructuring of debt were discussed during the negotiations. Bankruptcy cases in the States are based on 3 key success factors that protect the interests of both the lender and the borrowers: transparency, ensuring rapid response, and preserving the value of assets. Representatives of American judicial structure emphasize that in America, priority is given to the reorganization of the debtor than its liquidation. This practice provides an opportunity to save jobs and contributes to the financial recovery of the debtor, preserving not only the income of taxpayers or the state treasury, but also ensuring the needs of all creditors are met accordingly. The participants exchanged views on Uzbekistan's active participation in the initiatives of the UN Commission on International Trade Law. Experts of the World Bank Doing Business Group noted that the Commission is currently developing a system to simplify the procedure for insolvency of individuals as well as small and medium-sized enterprises, which is important for developing countries like Uzbekistan. The World Bank and the government of Uzbekistan have signed a new agreement on supporting the development of civil aviation in the country. Details in our next report.
In September 2018, the World Bank signed an agreement with Uzbek authorities to provide consulting services for the modernization of the national civil aviation sector. The term of the agreement expired in August 2019. The new agreements provide for assistance to the government from the World Bank in developing a national aviation policy and strategy for the development of various segments of civil aviation, the report says. According to the World Bank, the strategy will be prepared jointly with the Ministry of Transport and the Civil Aviation Agency of Uzbekistan, as well as Uzbekistan Airways and Uzbekistan Airports. The press service of the Ministry of Transport of Uzbekistan reported that the World Bank expressed its readiness to participate in projects to modernize the infrastructure of airports in the country.
In the second half of 2019, the inflation remained at high level, which affected the overall level of inflation expectations in the economy. This was stated in the review of monetary policy for the fourth quarter of the last year, published by the Central Bank of Uzbekistan. According to the Central Bank surveys, the expected inflation rate for 12 months ahead comprised 18%. Expectations of the population in November decreased to 17.3% and increased to 17.9% in December. The inflation expectations on business entities showed a slight decrease in December to 18.1%. Finance Minister Jamshid Kuchkarov has recently said that inflation is the problem number one for Uzbekistan. He said that it was decided to endure the 15% inflation mark to solve the problems in the social sphere. The first freight trains from Kyrgyzstan passed through the territory of Uzbekistan to Georgia, the press service of the National Railway Company reported. Trains from Kyrgyzstan's Karasu delivered almost 50 tanks of fuel oil to Georgia's Batumi, with the journey time taking some 33 hours. In December 2019, Tashkent hosted a meeting of the heads of railways of Azerbaijan, Georgia, Kyrgyzstan, Turkmenistan and Uzbekistan. The parties agreed to launch an international multimodal route between these five countries in the first quarter of 2020. They established common transit tariff rates and a coordinating committee chaired by the Ministry of Transport of Uzbekistan.
An emergency-level wildfire was burning near Australia's capital Canberra on Tuesday, forcing authorities to warn residents to be on high alert. The fire was apparently started by an Australian Defence Force reconnaissance helicopter landing in an area south of Canberra, local media reported. Residents in the nearby town of Thauma were told to seek shelter from the approaching fire as it was too late to leave. Australian Capital Territory Emergency Services Commissioner told reporters the conditions were extremely dangerous. Large parts of several Australian states have been devastated by wildfires in recent months. The Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, withdrew his request for immunity from prosecution on Tuesday, hours before parliamentary proceedings on the subject were set to begin. Netanyahu, who was visiting Washington ahead of the launch of the President Donald Trump's long-anticipated peace plan, said he decided not to let this dirty game continue in a statement published on his official Facebook page. Israel's parliament, the Knesset, was set to convene to discuss formation of the committee to debate the Prime Minister's immunity request. The Knesset was widely expected to reject Netanyahu's immunity request. It is still expected to meet even after the withdrawal. Netanyahu's reaction paves the way for legal proceedings against him to go forward. He was indicted on counts of fraud, breach of trust, and bribery in November in 3 separate cases. He has denied any wrongdoing. Deaths from a new viral disease that is causing mounting global concern rose at least 106 in China, officials in Beijing said Tuesday. The total includes the first death in Beijing itself and 24 more fatalities in Hubei province, where the first illnesses from a newly identified coronavirus occurred in December. 1,771 new cases were confirmed on Monday, raising the national total to 4,515, according to the National Health Commission. It said 976 people were in serious condition. Asian stock markets stumbled for a second day, dragged down by worries about the virus's global economic impact. A member of the country's medical expert team said it was essential to control the source of the infection. The European Union's Brexit negotiators said on Monday that Britain continues to face the risk of a cliff edge departure from the bloc if negotiations on trade agreement don't result in an agreement. Michel Barnier made the remarks as he visited Dublin in a show of solidarity with Ireland 5 days before the UK is due to leave the European Union. He said Brexit meant that Britain was pulling out 600 international agreements on trade and other issues. Everything would need to be renegotiated, Barnier said. If we have have no agreement. It will not be business as usual and the status quo, he said. We have to face the risk of a cliff edge, in particular for trade. Britain's exit on Friday, the first time as nation has left the bloc, will be followed by an 11-month transition period. During that time, Britain will continue to follow EU rules, while the two sides work out new deals on trade, security and other areas.
This is all we have for today. Thanks for watching and goodbye.